Just for a moment, imagine how differently you would live if you genuinely stopped caring what people thought of you. The things you'd try, the things you'd say out loud, the clothes, the dreams, the quiet version of yourself you keep folded away because someone, somewhere, might disapprove. Most people spend their entire lives quietly managing the opinions of others, editing themselves, shrinking themselves, performing a slightly smaller, safer version of who they are, not because they chose to, but because the fear of being judged runs the show from underneath. Tonight, I want to take that fear apart, where it comes from, why it has such a grip on you, and how to loosen it without becoming cold or careless. So let's begin with the most important thing, the thing that changes how you see all of this. The fear of what people think is not irrational, and it's not a weakness. It is ancient. It is wired into you. For almost the entire history of our species, a human being could not survive alone. You needed the group for food, for shelter, for protection, for warmth in the dark. And the worst thing that could happen to you was not failure, it was rejection. To be cast out of the tribe was quite literally a death sentence, so your brain evolved to treat social disapproval as a genuine threat to your life, to scan constantly for any sign that the people around you were pulling away. That wiring is still in you. It hasn't updated. So when you feel that hot flush of embarrassment, that sick drop in your stomach when someone disapproves of you, that is not you being weak or oversensitive. That is a very old survival alarm, doing exactly the job it was built to do, hundreds of thousands of years ago. You are not broken for caring what people think. You're human. You were designed to. But here is what changed, and why that ancient alarm now causes you so much unnecessary pain. You no longer live in a small tribe of 40 people where one person's opinion decides whether you eat. You live in a world of billions where the disapproval of a stranger, a co-worker, a person online you'll never meet again costs you absolutely nothing. Your survival does not depend on them. Your next meal does not depend on them, but your nervous system hasn't been told. It's still treating a raised eyebrow, a cold text, an unfollowed account, like a life or death exile from the tribe. So the fear is real, but the danger, almost always, is not. You are running life or death software for situations that are not remotely life or death. And once you can see that, once you can feel the alarm go off and say quietly, "Ah, that's just the old wiring. Nothing here can actually hurt me," the grip begins to loosen. Now, the advice everyone gives is just stop caring what people think. And it's useless. It's like telling someone to just stop being afraid of heights. You can't will the feeling away. So we're not going to try. Instead, we're going to get specific, because the phrase "what people think" is hiding the whole problem. When you say you're afraid of what people think, stop and ask, which people? Picture them. Actually name them. And here's what you'll almost always find. The people whose judgment you fear most are not the people you love or respect or even know well. They're acquaintances, co-workers you're not close to, strangers, people from your past, people online. You are contorting your entire life around the imagined opinions of people whose own lives you would not want, whose advice you would never ask for, whose names you might not even remember in 5 years. You have, without realizing it, given a vote on how you live your one life to people you wouldn't trust to choose a restaurant. Try it right now, honestly. Bring to mind the judgment you're most afraid of, the thing you won't do because of what people would think. Now picture, specifically, who those people are. Not everyone. The actual faces. More often than not, it's a small handful. A critical relative. A few people from school you haven't spoken to in years. an old version of someone who doesn't even exist anymore, a faceless crowd online. When you make it concrete like that, the spell weakens. Everyone will judge me quietly becomes, a few people I don't even particularly admire might have a passing thought. And a passing thought from someone who won't be thinking about you at all by tomorrow is a very small thing to trade your whole life for. So let me offer you the reframe that does the real work here, the one worth writing down. You will be judged either way. There is no version of your life where everyone approves of you. None. Sit with that, because it's strangely freeing. If you play it small, if you stay quiet, keep your head down, never risk anything, people will judge you for being timid, for wasting your potential, for never going after what you wanted. And if you go fully after what you want, if you're bold, visible, unapologetically yourself, people will judge you for being too much, too loud, too ambitious, too different. Either way, you get judged. There is no safe, judgment-free path through life. It does not exist. So the choice was never judged or not judged. That was an illusion. The real choice, the only choice you actually have, is this: judged while living as the fullest version of yourself, or judged while living as a watered-down, half-muted version that you slowly come to resent. Same judgment, same disapproving voices either way. But one of those lives is actually yours. When you really understand that, a strange calm comes over you. Because the worst outcome, being judged, is going to happen no matter what you do. It's already priced in. It's the cost of being a person in a world full of other people with opinions. So you may as well be judged for the real thing. You may as well spend the disapproval you were always going to receive on a life you actually chose. And notice something else. The harshest critic, almost always, is not even out there. It's the voice in your own head, the one narrating what everyone else is supposedly thinking. Most of the judgment you fear isn't real. It's imagined. You are reacting all day long to a courtroom that exists only inside you, with you playing every role, the accused, the jury, and the cruelest judge of all. And take the long view for a moment. People at the very end of their lives, asked what they regret, almost never say they wish they'd cared more about what others thought. The most common regret is the exact opposite. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. The fear feels so enormous in the moment, so urgent, so worth obeying. But stretched across an entire life, obeying it is the very thing people grieve. Nobody reaches the end wishing they'd been more careful to please strangers. Now, I want to be careful and honest here, because the goal is not to care about nothing. A person who genuinely cares about no one's opinion isn't free. They're often just unkind or lost. Caring what the right people think is not weakness. It's part of how we stay good, how we grow, how we stay connected to the people who matter. So this was never about becoming cold. It's about becoming selective. Here is the practice. Choose your counsel. Pick 3 to 5 people. That's all. Whose opinion of you genuinely matters. People who actually know you, who love you, who want you to grow, not shrink. Maybe it's a partner, a close friend, a mentor, a sibling. Write them down if it helps. That small group is your counsel, and their honest feedback is worth taking to heart. Everyone else, the crowd, the comments, the co-worker, the stranger, the imagined audience in your head, they're not on the counsel. They get the polite, distant version of your attention. They do not get a vote on how you live. This single shift changes everything, because feedback from someone who loves you and wants the best for you is a gift. It helps you become who you're meant to be. But feedback from someone who doesn't know you doesn't care about you, and won't be there next year is just noise. The skill is not in silencing all of it. It's in knowing which voices to let inside and which to let pass straight through. And here's a subtle thing, even with your counsel. Their feedback is precious, but it isn't gospel. The people who love you have their own fears too, and sometimes they'll quietly want you to stay small, because your boldness unsettles them, or because they've grown attached to the version of you that's easy for them. So weigh even their words. Take in the love behind the feedback, keep what rings true, and still let yourself outgrow what doesn't. Because in the end, you remain the only person who actually has to live inside your life, which means you get the final vote, always. And here's a quiet truth that takes the pressure off enormously. People are thinking about you far, far less than you imagine. Psychologists call it the spotlight effect. We feel like we're on a lit stage, every flaw watched and remembered, when in reality, everyone else is starring in their own show, worrying about their own spotlight, barely registering yours. That embarrassing thing you did that you still cringe about at 2 a.m. They've forgotten it completely. They were too busy thinking about themselves. We are all far too self-absorbed to be watching each other as closely as we fear. So how do you actually build this freedom? Because understanding it in your head is one thing. Feeling free in your body is another. And the answer is that freedom from judgment is not a switch you flip. It's a muscle you build, one small rep at a time. So practice being slightly disapproved of, on purpose. Start tiny. Wear the thing you like that you're scared is too much. Share the opinion, kindly, that not everyone will agree with. Leave the party when you want to, instead of when it's acceptable. Ask the question in the meeting that might sound stupid. Post the thing. Each time you do something small that risks mild disapproval, and you survive it, and the sky doesn't fall, and your life goes on completely intact, the old alarm gets a little quieter. You're teaching your nervous system through direct evidence that disapproval is not death, that you can be judged and be completely fine, and pay attention to where the fear gets fed. For most of us now, that's the screen, a place quietly engineered to make us perform for an audience and measure ourselves in likes, views, and silent judgments. You don't have to quit it, but notice how much of your fear of what people think is really fear of what an app is showing you. Step back from it now and then. Spend time somewhere no one is watching or scoring you. And you'll be surprised how quickly the imaginary audience shrinks and how much more clearly you can hear your own voice again underneath all that noise. And slowly, rep by rep, something shifts. You stop asking, before every choice, what will they think? And you start asking the only question that was ever really yours. Is this true to me? That's the whole journey, in one swapped question. So let me leave you with this. You were not put on this earth to be a smooth, agreeable, inoffensive surface that everyone approves of. That's not a life. That's a performance with no one real inside it. You were put here to be someone, to have a shape, a voice, edges, opinions, a self. And being someone, anyone real, will always cost you the comfort of being liked by everyone. Pay that price gladly. Let the wrong people be disappointed in you. Let them misunderstand you, judge you, drift away. Because on the other side of their disapproval is the one thing all that fear was costing you. A life that is actually, fully, unmistakably your own. And the people who matter, your counsel, the ones who truly see you, will not just forgive you for being yourself. They'll love you more for it. And so, finally, will you? The world does not need a quieter version of you. It needs you. Go and be that. Take care of your mind. This was Inners. I'll see you in the next one.